Coming at you live from the Naples Beach Hotel and Golf Club. This is the R&R Show. I'm Chad Ricardo. Yes, my main man, Eric Richards. Eric, we're going to break down the 8th grade matchups thus far. There was a huge game last night. We got to start there. Seattle versus Dade. It went into double overtime. What were your thoughts?
Well, both teams had a shot to win it in regulation, and Dade just resilient against a much bigger Seattle offensive line. They just kept coming. They just kept coming. You know, we saw some new offensive stars out there from Dade last night.
We absolutely did. We certainly want to give a shout out to Tagana Oba. He played out really well out there. And then Josh Celestine, he's the young man that was able to score that game-winning touchdown in overtime.
I had to keep notes because the game started at 8:30 and ended at 11:30. We're blaming that on TV timeouts and touchdowns and everything else. But Seattle definitely doesn't have anything to hold their head about.
Correct.
We had a game before that one where Maryland and GFL final score was 19-9, but that wasn't a 19-9 game.
Right. If
you were there, that was much closer than what the score indicated. So it's going to be very interesting in that third place game, Maryland and Seattle, because both of them want to leave here third place champion. One other player from the Miami-Dade is Sumo. We got to talk about him, the little wide receiver.
Yes.
That's the smallest player in the tournament at 8th grade, but might have the biggest heart.
And that's one of the things that we saw from that young man. A couple of the others out there at Dade, I mean, they use their speed, they use their quickness to get to the edge, and there's no quit in this team.
No.
When we interviewed Coach a couple of days ago, he spoke about the fact that this team has been through some things and that they were going to come out, they were going to play with that heart, they were going to play strong, and you can't match up with that.
It's, you know, I mean, this is no surprise really from a Dade, Broward, South Florida team and everything. It's the same story. A couple real good backs, and they play as a team, and they get to the edge. You're just not going to catch them.
And we certainly do want to give credit to that Seattle team, of course, coached by Rob Mason. Rob Mason, a great guy. They've got a tremendous program out there. You can't say enough about them.
Yep, Seattle and the Terrence Bird staff, one with class. I mean, I think we said before going in, they were going to, GFL and Maryland were going to know each other's offense like the back of their hand. And that's why it was such a low-scoring game all the way up until midway through the fourth quarter.
And so now turning the page to that GFL and Maryland matchup, like you said, Coach, final score of that one was 19-9. GFL, very physical out there. The offensive line, I spoke to Coach, they said we got to give credit to the offensive line, the big guys up front. They really get it done in the trenches.
They're protecting Masco and Gunner, and they're allowing them to see downfield, and when it's not there, they're making the holes for the quarterback draws and everything. I think all three quarterbacks scored touchdowns, right? Masco had 2, and Gunner Stockton had 1, and so, you know, definitely offensive line play well. But with that being said, this defensive coordinator that we're getting ready to bring on has helped that GFL team for 7 years. It was almost like deja vu during the Maryland game, because this same thing happened 4 years ago where Maryland drove the field, got on the 1-yard line, getting ready to score. I want to bring up the defensive coordinator for GFL, Steve Buzzoletti.
Coach Buzzoletti, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks for having me.
What's happening, Steve?
What's going on?
All right. As we take a look at last night's game, I mean, holding this Maryland team, I mean, they had athletes all over the field. You held them to 9 points. How were you all able to do it?
Well, like Eric said, we knew Maryland's a physical team. This is my 3rd time facing Maryland in semifinal, quarterfinal play. And we knew that they're tough, they're a physical bunch. Their defense, offensive line are physical. But we had a good game plan, but it was just keep playing one play at a time and matching them play for play. And give all the credit. Maryland's a solid team, but our boys stepped up, and we rep goal line. We rep red zone, and we rep it. And a lot of things happen between the 20s, but when you get down that low, you can't give up cheap scores. And we had several 4th down stops against Dallas to get us to the Maryland game, and so we take pride in our defense.
Coach Buzzoletti, just back up to the Dallas game, because I think you've seen it all now. That was the Dallas 8th grade passing attack was probably the most advanced I've seen in this tournament. Do you agree?
Yes.
And then the running back, if you didn't have dreams of number 5, Kellum, last night in your sleep, I think you don't want to see him again, I'm sure.
No, they're physical guys. They go up and get the ball at the highest point. You got to put 7 in the box or 8 in the box to stop the run. That leaves our DBs on an island sometimes, and Yeah, no, they were good. We both Dallas and Maryland.
Speaking of DBs, you had a couple blown coverages against Dallas. Last night you fixed that in your corners, Terrence Wilkins and Big Daniel Martin, and even the other corner, Killebrew, all came up with huge plays in a different way or another. I know we had 2 interceptions on one side with Terrence. We had 1 interception with Killebrew. It killed a big drive, and then we had Daniel Martin that came up and had some huge blows. Huh?
Yeah, it gets down to FPU attracts the best athletes, the best talent, and so we know we're playing other teams with the same kind of talent. We just try to do matchups. And, you know, we tried to match up our strength, and we wanted to be physical. We had to be physical. But at the same time, you got to cover these guys, and they're hard to cover.
All right, moving forward to tomorrow night on Primetime TV at 8:30. It's the same old for you. You've seen South Florida almost 6 out of the 7 years. Had a couple good experiences against them and came up on the short end a couple of good times. So tell us what you're expecting tomorrow night.
Right, they've got a good mix of speed and power. Granted, they might not have the lines that you're going to see, say, from Kentucky or Maryland, but they're going to test you on the perimeter, and you better be ready. And they're quick. And we watched them last night in that double overtime, triple overtime game against Seattle. They're ready to play, and they know how to play.
What are you all going to have to do to walk out of there with that victory and bring the title home to Georgia?
We've got to try to match their speed with some sort of speed package that we have. I mean, we know that they're going to test us on the perimeter, and that's what we're focused on right now.
Coach Buzz, a couple of your other coordinators that you have over there helping you. Give them a shout out. Who helps you on the defensive side?
Coach Gildemeyer is our defensive line coach. He's off the chart good. We got Coach Fronte Fountain, our DB coach. Coach Keith Chambers and Dre Chambers are our DB coaches. We got Coach Kibo with linebackers. But you know how defense works. The defensive line doesn't operate until you get coverage. You get coverage sacks, and vice versa. If you don't get pressure, then they're not going to get interceptions. And it all goes through the linebacker. So I mean, you know, we really focus. We believe in the process. You know, a lot of these teams are travel teams. We try to get everything smashed in a month. Eric, you guys are great. FBU's great. Like I said, the best talent in the country is here. So.
All right, Chad. I know you know Coach Ken Bird gets a lot of credit for coaching his teams over the years, but that defensive staff has been together for about 7 years in this tournament. It's big credit why GFL is making a return appearance too.
Coach Buzz, dominant defense throughout the entire tournament.
One more.
We certainly wish you all the best of luck and success out there on the football field in the championship game. That's going to do it for the 8th grade wrap-up. On behalf of my main man, Coach Buzz, Eric Richards in the building, I'm Chad Ricardo. We got 6th and 7th grade coming up for you in a moment. Keep it locked.
I'm going to get a grouper sandwich.
Appreciate it. Thanks.